Eve Stryker, who's going to chat with us about one of her favorite topics, pearl.
I love pearls. Thank you so much for having me.
Obviously, you have so many lovely variations of pearl, and what I love about your work is it is inspired by Mother Nature, but also you think of Mother Nature when you choose your jewelry ingredients.
Absolutely. I try to use recycled, sustainable metals whenever possible. I know where my stones are coming from, and my sources know their sources. That trust and relationship building generates gemstones that really do take the earth and also our relationships with the earth into mind.
It doesn't get more natural than pearl, does it?
No, it does not. It does not. Pearls are an organic gemstone, which means that they're made by an animal or an organic material. What I think is so interesting about pearls is that there is a creature that actually makes the pearl through layers and layers of nacre, which is the beautiful shiny pearl material that we love.
What is the difference between a cultured pearl and a natural one?
Ooh, that's a very good question. A natural pearl forms around something that might be invading the mollusk. It could be a parasite that's crawled through the shell, or because mollusks are filter feeders, they'll take in plankton and water from the environment, and when they get rid of or expel whatever they don't need, sometimes something might be left behind. What happens is the mollusk has this natural defense mechanism where they secrete nacre and conchylin to create bricks of what is pearl around this invader to keep it from hurting its organs. A cultured pearl is something that is helped by man to grow. It's still being grown in water, in a natural environment. However, it's being forced into this process because man is taking a piece of a shell and a donor tissue wrapped around that shell and inserting it into the reproductive organ of the mollusk. When this happens, the mollusk thinks, again, this is an invading species. However, the donor tissue fools it into thinking it might be a part of itself. So it kind of works together and surrounds the bead in pearl.
The interesting thing I learned yesterday from Raphael was that you can sense what color the pearl will be by the tissue, the lip of the shell.
There are two determining factors for color. The tissue of the donor mollusk and whatever color that may have been inside the shell, as well as the DNA and the tissue of the host mollusk. So it's like the mom and dad.
Each kind of mollusk creates a different kind of pearl.
They do, and different mollusks take different time to grow the pearl. So a freshwater pearl has a very short life cycle, and they actually don't use a bead when they nucleate a freshwater mollusk. They use many, many pieces of tissue, and you can get dozens of pearls out of a single mollusk in a single growth cycle. Whereas a Tahitian pearl, South Sea pearl, you'll see there's only one pearl that can grow at a time, and each pearl takes 5 to 7 years to grow.
That's a very long time.
It is a very, very long time to be caring for that mollusk.
Well, when you think about a matching set of earrings or a matching set of pearls for a necklace, all of a sudden you realize how much time might need to pass before you find all of the right matching colors. And it's not only the color, it's the shape, the nacre, size. So it could take literally years to find a single strand of matching pearls.
With the Tahitian pearls as well, it's not just color, shape, size. There's also secondary color elements like overtone and orient. Orient is the function that happens when it's almost like gas on water. You see this iridescence over the surface of the pearl. And then an overtone would be a secondary color that you see. So the body of the pearl may be gray, but its overtone might have a peach or a pinky sort of vibe to it, or maybe something that is a little bit green. You're not only matching for that gray body color, you're also matching for these other qualities.
Speaking of spectacular qualities, I learned about Keshi from Raphael, and he shared with me some really interesting colors, shapes. Tell me how Keshi is made.
Keshi is a pearl that does not form around a bead nucleus. It's formed with tissue, and it can sometimes be a byproduct of a pearl growth, or it could be when the bead is rejected from the oyster and the tissue is able to grow a pearl that's kind of interesting. That would be a side product of a cultured pearl process.
A lot of Keshi pearls actually look like Baroque pearls, but I wonder what is the difference?
All Keshi pearls are Baroque because they don't have a centralized nucleus, which gives it a sense of symmetry. A Baroque pearl is something that has no line of symmetry. So if you think about a sphere, it's even in every direction. A Baroque pearl will be different in every direction.
So Baroque pearls can come in any kind of mollusk.
A Baroque pearl can come in any mollusk. It can be in a freshwater pearl, which is where we often see some really interesting, fun shapes, especially because they grow so quickly. They let them just go. But you'll also see pearls that are Tahitian Keshis, and they'll have the same beautiful surface quality, the orient, the overtone, and the coloration of a Tahitian pearl, but they'll have really fun shapes.
Speaking of fun shapes, you combine these very unique pearls in your designs, and a few of them are these wonderful earrings.
I love these stick pearls. They're really fun, modern shape because they are elongated. They're almost like dusters, but then they have the pearl luster. It's so unexpected, and I love matching pearls and their beautiful internal glow with a matte finish.
Another one that I really love are these almost wing-like pearls.
These are my fireball pearls. They're each completely unique. However, they have this bead nucleus, and from the bead nucleus, the pearl has a Baroque sort of Keshi fireball to it. And this fireball tail has all of these folds and layers of luster that I think are truly spectacular.
I just love looking at them. It'd be wonderful to live inside one of these.
Wouldn't
It's
it be
like
cool?
Awesome pearl cave. I love pearls for their diversity. They're kind of like people, right? No one person looks alike. Then you start to appreciate things like this pearl.
This is part of the reason why I have these pendants that are these independent drops. I do this with my Tahitian pearls that are all circled. They have a really interesting ridge to them. And this is telling the story of how it formed. While this pearl was forming, something was happening in its environment. Maybe it was a change in nutrients or temperature, or there was a storm that interrupted the growth. And you'll start to see these changes in the surface texture, as well as these changes in the coloration on the surface of the pearl. These rings almost act like barriers for the orient and for the overtone. When I set them individually, you have to start to pay attention to them as these unique, beautiful pieces of nature's art.
I like them together.
They actually stack really
they're
well.
like little mini BFFs.
And when you wear them on different length chains too, you can get a really cool, rich effect.
I think they like friends.
I think they do like friends. I think they like friends more than a strand of pearls. You start to appreciate them more in this other orientation.
Tell me a little bit about these.
These are mother of pearl. They're hand carved. They have carvings on both sides. Mother of pearl is actually the inner edge of the shell of the mollusk. This inner shell is also covered in nacre. You can often tell the color that the pearl will be based on the mother of pearl that's on the inside lip of the shell. So for this, they use the shell itself and cut it into a shape and then carve into that shape. This is really how pearls started being cultured back in ancient China. They would take a shape of Buddha, actually, carve it with wood, and then insert it against the edge, the inner edge of the shell. And the mollusk would think that it was an invader, a parasite getting in through the side of the shell, and they would coat it in nacre. Then they would cut this Buddha form out of the shell when it had time to turn into this beautiful pearl.
It's pretty incredible because who wants to spit out Buddha?
No, I don't know. But you can coax a pearl into coating anything. It's just oysters doing what they do best, which is make pearls.
Another thing that I thought was fascinating was that you can find pearls grown in fresh water, salt water, and find the matching shape, color, and they could be very different price points.
Absolutely. The thing that determines price point for any gemstone is rarity. When you have a freshwater pearl that is created at the same time as 40 other freshwater pearls over the course of 6 months versus a Tahitian or South Sea pearl, which takes such a long time to form, even that's the same size as the freshwater pearl, The amount of care and time that goes into it and the rarity of finding that even perfect shape over the course of several years of growth, it really is totally different.
It's a lot like food too. If you have something like a typhoon that wipes out a crop, it's the same for pearls. You can have a lag in the market in terms of availability if there is a destruction of these pearl beds. Primarily the ocean is where it happens more so than in fresh water.
It's much more volatile to have saltwater pearls. It's a much harder game. There are so many oysters that exist in the world, but only about 20 species of oysters that can produce a pearl. The other thing on top of that is no two oysters are created equally. This is a living creature. So the health of that creature from the time that it's created until the time it produces a pearl plays a lot into the quality of product that we get.
I guess I'm not going to be finding any pearls in my oysters next time I go brunching.
Probably not. Probably not. Chances are low.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your awesome pearl knowledge and your incredible jewels.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. I love talking about jewelry.
Yay, our favorite topic.
Yeah.